perfect frame, your cases in the top. You hear me talking about Dacre a lot, and there's very, very few times that we're able to actually get to see them. Sorry, I was just trying to do something technical here. But I've spoken about Dacre a lot, and what's really amazing about Dacre is that this is the grey Dacre, the common or grey Dacre. Really one of the most common antelopes throughout Africa. But you hardly ever get to see them because they're so sensitive. I think, who was it Kevin in Boston this morning was asking me about animals that are vulnerable. And I really mostly only mentioned the animals that live in groups. And I didn't mention these solitary animals that don't have many ears and noses and eyes to look out for danger. They have to rely almost entirely on their own, or, as maybe in the Dacre's case, a mate, because they do mate for life and they live within each other. Well, she lives in his territory, or he actually, it's more a case of he creates a territory and a safe haven for her to live in peace. And he thinks he's in control, but actually he does it all for her, so she's actually the one in control because it's all for her that he does it. But I think that's kind of reflected right throughout the human animal world. The perception of who yields the power. And she's gone. What a pity. She didn't like me talking. But there we go. Common Dacre, one of the dwarf antelopes. In fact, probably one of the largest of the dwarf antelopes. If we go into the sizes of things like Suni and Dik-Dik, and they're even smaller things than the tiny little children. But that was really nice. I've got a few photographs of it. It's a really nice moment of the Dacre. I don't know if you noticed, but there was that tuft of hair in the center of her forehead. It looks like a horn, like a single horn. And that has led to a nickname that the many unicorns in the bush. two little impala boys that are going on to their second year. And Sharon has been asking about aging antelope, particularly kudu, not so much impala, but I want to go through everything now and see, when we look at things, look at size of horn versus age. What is that big grey animal over there? Now those impala would have been born about 20 months ago, or 19, so November of 11. December of 11. So they would have been conceived in May of 2011. April, May. Born November, December 2011. Would have made them yearlings last year. And this past rutting season would have been the first time that they would have been ousted from the herd, and they would have been part of bachelor herds. Right throughout the rutting season, taking the brunt of the ire of the old ram that was sparring and needed to vent some of their anger on something smaller and less reactive. Yebo. Try. Yeah. Where are you? Hang on, Ellen. Aren't you on those impala, dude? No, sorry, Aaron, I was distracted. What was that? I'm talking about those impala. But there's a question. These two boys, up until now, have had about 6 to 8 inches of horn that have been relatively straight but curving inwards, almost touching at the tip. And now, as they go into their sort of 18 months, into their second year, you can see there's a little bit of a curl forward. Quite interested in something. I can hear a Scops owl already. So they're quite interested in something, listening to something at the side. Hopefully we can go through the antelope as we pass them and sort of try and get some idea of horn growth and sizes. Because up until they become adults, that's the only way to really tell the age of antelope. I don't think the deer follow the same sort of pattern. I don't think that the deer because they lose their horns every year, it's all got to do with diet, it's all got to do with, I don't know, genes too, perhaps. But yeah, the genes are only really noticeable once they reach their full-grown status, and that, like, after 4 years with an impala or 6 years with a kudu. Only then, perhaps, they start thickening or just, yeah, mostly just thickening. It's just a different genetic strain that will have really, really big horns, or really, really what humans call trophies. Sad though that humans have to want to do something like that, biggest. Basically driving natural selection down the other way, but it's too thick, not as touch and warm, because humans relish them one day. I don't know what they're doing, those two boys. Thought they might do a bit of sparring. What's wrong with you, Eagle? There's a tiny little pool there, so there might there's a whole admin side that I don't know of, but in terms of the on the ground stuff, that I can give an idea of, because just to have the jigger running and just to have a group of people and feed them and sleep them is one issue. The other thing is that you have to find a property that is willing to let you use their facilities and let you stay there, and most of these places require a rent, so it runs into probably to the, I don't know, $20,000-$30,000 a month easily. I have no idea. Thing about it is that it requires a crew, and the crew requires accommodation. So we require almost an entire camp on its own, and 99% of the places here in the bush are guest camps that don't have, invariably they have a shortage of staff accommodation. You find staff have to double up and live in abominable conditions compared to the luxury lodges that the guests sleep in. But to find an entire camp that will let us do this now, the camp that we're staying at right now, there's been a given from the start of the project that we will be out of here at the end of the month, so it comes to an end for now. I would love it to be able to, because of the possibility of finding somewhere else and having all the equipment and going around to landowners around in the area and finding out. I would love to find an alternative. Teddy in New York. The drive over. Oh my, look at them. Look at that piglet. No, of course you're going to run away. Stand there when you drive fast. Now we start. stop, look at you, you run away. Tails in the air, run through the grasses. Okay. What these people don't realize that what they've just done to roads is the worst possible thing they could ever do to the roads. But not only that, but to the bush. I wish, I don't know, I wish humans didn't have their hand in things. I wish they didn't think they knew what they were doing. Who was it? Somebody sent me something. Somebody gave me this beautiful little elephant picture that says, I can't repeat it, it's got a swear word in it, I can't repeat it. I'll try and rephrase it. It goes something like, for those of you who think you know everything, stop messing it up. Messing it up for those of us who do. So I messed it up. But yes, for those of you who think you know everything, stop messing it up for those of us who do. But I never profess to know everything. But golly gosh, I've had so much experience in dealing with roads and rehabilitation and erosion. And you don't bring everything equipment on the bush roads. Well, done it, dusted, and I'll come back here in a couple of years and I'll go, I told you so. It is time we visited Mildred. We've been preoccupied with elephants for so long now. It's not so long. It's like a couple of drives. It's really not even that long. But it hasn't gotten us up to the northwest. We're going to try and reach there today. And I'm saying I forget about how these roads have been destroyed. They were bad enough. Now they've been destroyed by some front-end-loaded things to not to drive it at all. For the operator. That's what he is, operate the machine. From tomorrow I'll wear my chocolate hat. For the remainder of the drive. Needs to get a bit dusty and needs to get a little bit of wear and tear. Oh yeah, I was talking. I don't know where our series is going to be spliced. I don't know when we're ending. I don't know where it will appear. It's like the last one for a while, but it eventually was on Netflix. And maybe one or two other. I don't know somewhere else. And it'll be interesting to find out where it does go, but for now, I'm just happy that we're live again, that we've been able to have this time to be live. I think we all had a lot of expectations of it being very similar to what we had experienced before in terms of wildlife, in terms of the density of wildlife, the frequency that we were seeing things. And I think we've all been sort of put in our place, but we've all been jolted to reality that Thornybush up in the north and in places, based on what the sightings tell me over the radio, there's a lot of excitement up north, but it just happens to be that we were based here in the south, rather dense, and not much utilizes the southern region of Thornybush. So much so that the drives don't even come down here, but that for us has been a blessing because it has given us the opportunity and the time to spend time with animals that we would ordinarily, if we'd been racing around Thornybush from sighting to sighting, just to get to show you things with films, we would get our allotted 10 minutes, and then that must just be looking at here, and then after the 10 minutes up, we've got to leave, we've got to go. So I think coming into Manolia now. Let me go a little forward, if they'll let me. This is the same troop that we've seen. We spent time with them at Langwan Dam in that Maruda tree. Exactly the same troop. And they're probably on their way back home down to the dam, and I'm disturbing them. There's still some around. Too many grasses in the road in the way. So many grasses in the way. Forward. Thanks, Sarah. That one is a little bit of gardenia. She's going to get intimidated. Fellow primates. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for the encouragement. Sarah Kern in New York. Wow. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Maybe we can call the networks and tell them. Remember Charlie Sheen? No, not Charlie Sheen. What was his name? Charlie. He did the motorbike ride from England. Him. Long way down. That too. So it'll be a combination of what Kingsley Holgate does and what he does. And I can even have Kingsley with us sometime. Try and convince the man. Is this vervet letting us form for a change? Oh, that was probably the longest we've been able to get a vervet on camera for the time that we've been here. Nice view of one anyway. The children are playing in a little gardenia down there, but I don't know how good that'll be because they're getting into the marula tree from there. That's another one of my ideas, is to take our cameras, like the Meerkat project, to do a couple of months, just maybe 2-3 months, going into the spring with a troop of vervet monkeys. And I know a troop of monkeys that we can do it with. Just got to convince. Oh, through that little via the marula tree. And it is so cute. This is charmed. Okay, maybe we can can't do game drives. Maybe we can spend 2-3 months going into spring with a troop of vervet in a lodge nearby. Okay, let's go down to Longwan Dam. See what's there. See if we can see Mildred. Mildred the crocodile. Probably a couple of buffalo bulls. See what's happening on the radio. Good on buffalo. Yeah. Very well, thank you. How are you today? Hello, man. You're just blinking at me. Try to relax, old man. And quite bored with me. I'm of no consequence to him at all. How small do I feel? Hello, Charlie. The name of the book I was talking about is called Game Ranch Management. Some of you might not like the book because it has things about hunting and stuff, but it has information that is useful to people like me who don't do hunting, who manage properties and have managed game reserves. And I have to admit, I've had this book for probably about 20 years now. Always been handy. But for the purpose that I wanted to use it for was to show Sharon the different ages of horns in especially kudu, but also buffalo and impala and other animals. Am I in the way? Gravity can take us forward. No, it's not happening. So, Game Ranch Management by J. Dupi Bachman. I'm just gonna J. Full stop. D-U full stop P full stop B-O-T-H-M-A Mortimer. Hello, buffalo. See how it only cuts the grass down to a certain level? What we call a tall grass grazer. Don't go away while I'm talking. What we call a tall grass grazer. Although they are somewhat of a bulk grazer buffalo, they're mostly a tall grass grazer, and it is vital that you have buffalo to eat those tall parts of the grasses to make it more favorable for the medium grazers. Remember, grazers are those that eat grass, Torah. He's going to graze into the sun shortly after. So we'll see if we can see him from this angle. Once he goes into the sun. But he's grazing mostly the tall. Okay, well, let's look at him rather. He might be better, easier, because you can't really see this. Okay. Not really. Too much in the way. Alright, this one then. Right, so he'll graze for us. Oh, maybe he won't. Relax, dude. Put the head down. You're the old man that had the injury to your eye, aren't you? Gosh, look at his muscles. Quite a buffalo. Why don't you move while I want to bring out my camera? That shot. That one shot. It was really so good. Posing. He was not posing, but he was, his stance, his posture was sort of part arrogant, part questioning, part challenging even. Move on to the dam, because it's really easy to get a... Oh, hang on. He's going to be rubbing against it. Just a bushes in between. So I'll go backward a bit, or... Back. Another bull now, slightly younger, I'd say. I'm not even sure if I was distracted in saying something. Somehow, back of my mind, I think I was. Alright. Before I was interrupted by buffalo. You just got to get used to me, because I can have something in my mind and be talking about it, and then I come across an animal or something, and then all of a sudden my mind has sort of dumped everything to be in that moment that I'm with an animal, because I have to be fully aware of what I'm doing and how that animal is reacting to my presence. I can't be distracted about thinking about questions that I'm busy answering. So it might be signs of ADD or something, but it's just a simple explanation that when I suddenly come across animals or I'm distracted by nature, my entire being is with what that element of nature is that I'm with. I was talking about the short grass, the tall grass grazers. Well, they graze the grass short enough for other grazers who graze it short enough for the short grass grazers who need open, shorter grass areas. And that's nature's way of divvying up the competition, or rather lessening the competition. Because not like browsers. The browsers who eat leaves, doesn't really matter about the competition, because all the browsers are different heights, and so they all reach different heights of the trees, and they all reach different heights of leaves. So with browsers that's one thing, but with grazers, it doesn't matter how big you are, you can all reach the grass because it's at your feet. So to spread the competition, or to limit the competition, nature ensures that some animals eat the tall part of the grass, and some animals eat the medium part of the grass, some animals eat the shorter part of the grass, and they need to feed together to complement each other for access to those parts of the plant that they need. And it just so happens that they also complement each other for other reasons too. One might have good hearing and the other might have good eyesight. All in all, it just behooves them. It just increases their chances of survival, because there are more eyes and more ears and more noses to smell out danger. Bobby in Florida, I'm guessing, he's talking about his buffalo. And the what Bobby is referring to is discoloration. There's a nice, maybe, that pool next to that. Just a little bit of a branch in the way, but you can still see pale patches of skin. I can even see where he's got tick bites and all sorts of other things bleeding from under his front leg. But I've often been asked about the white patches and things on buffalo, but they're not white patches, they're merely patches where the hair has been rubbed off over time. Got to remember, these are old bulls, and over 20 or so years or 30 years of having itches in certain places, they've rubbed it to the point where they don't have any hair, but even more to the point where it starts developing calluses. So if you look at this particular bull, and I don't know if you can see it sort of behind his eye, between his eye and his ear and the bottom of his horns on his right, our left, you can see a very pale grey patch. And that is obviously a place where he's had a lot of irritation over his life, and he's rubbed it on trees, and he's rubbed it on bark and sticks and wherever he can when he's had an itch. And over time, it has not only rubbed the hair away, but it's also developed a rather thick callus. So to a large extent, there are certain areas of buffalo where, depending on what kind of life they've lived and depending on how they have reacted to itches and scratches, because not everyone is the same, they develop these calloused areas far different to the one next to them. But there are always sort of areas around the eye, in front of the eye, around the bust, around the base, or rather the inner thigh and the stomach, where the thigh rubs against the stomach, and these are all areas of skin where a lot of ticks and a lot of parasites gather. So there's been a lot of scratching and rubbing, and that accounts for a lot of this callus development. But having said that, there is another culprit. There is another reason why you might find discolorations and patches on the skin that are not in those areas where a buffalo rubs all its life, that might be sort of higher up on the flank or on the back or on the shoulders, where there isn't soft skin for parasites or parasitic development to cause that effect. And those are places where perhaps bovine tuberculosis in its dermological form starts manifesting, because all of them, these buffalo, are all carriers of bovine TB, and sometimes it manifests itself as lesions. He's got a very red eye, his right eye. In fact, it looks like it's weeping quite severely. I wonder if he's not the one that had, or maybe it's the same one we were looking at earlier. Got a very, very inflamed red eye. His right eye, like he's got burst blood vessels or something. I think he's the one whose eye was closed. If I look at the tears in his ears, I might be able to look at some archive footage. I think he's the one. Might be, maybe not. Maybe something else with that eye. Certainly not happy about it. But Bobby, hope that answers your question. Had that one before, Charlie, and I'll probably give a different answer, or maybe the same. If I came back as an animal, what would I be and why? An elephant or an eagle? Probably. Or a falcon, or a swift. You see, I think for me, coming back, it would all be about freedom. And the animals that symbolize freedom, I suppose a whale or a dolphin, but no, I don't think marine. I'm thinking of sky, or if it had to be land, it would have to be an elephant. Although I'm probably half elephant as it is. Got an itch, old boy. Okay, let's go down to the dam. Come on. And there's Mildred. There's mud. But there, look at that. You're going to have heron and stork in one shot. Thanks, Clancy. Aaron just read me a quote that you sent in. I'll have to learn it. Not that much to learn, but I'll try and learn it. Repeat it tomorrow. That's very profound. Following a dream as an eagle must fly, explore the deep blue sky. Not too great, I suppose, is it? No sign of Crocodilius niloticus. And they're sitting facing the sun. But Willie next stork and grey heron. Plus I've got this double sun with it reflecting off the water and bouncing into my face. Sorry, that makes a noise. So bright. So very bright. That's better. The scientific name for sundew, and I don't think I'm going to get it in my book because it only occurs down in the Cape. But I'm sure that somewhere in my head, I don't have it in my book. Sundew, it is. All is gone. It is. Anyways, look it up. Go to. Oh, hello, baby. Yes, that baby Nyala. Then we'll get to see them. See this gap with that little one. Very dark in there. It would be amazing if I had a touchscreen device that I could help me with my answers. Because everything's got to come out of my head, and my head's not like a touchscreen device. It takes time for my brain to access the information. Sometimes I only remember it afterwards. But yes, look at the sundew on Plants Africa, PLANTZZ. Not with an S, but spelled with a Z. PlantsAfrica.com, and look at the sundew. Quite a unique insectivorous plant, endemic to Southern Africa. But we don't have it here in the bush, only down in the Cape. Yebo. Oh, Roger. very brave in my short sleeves until a certain point. But if you look at the sunset, this also is lovely down that end too. Beautiful colours down the riverbed this evening. Sure. Okay, let's go see if we can find a moonrise. We'll catch a bit of the sun as we go through over the sand. Ooh. Hello Nancy, outside Seattle, not Seattle but outside Seattle, Washington State. Hello Nancy. Have I ever thought about writing a book about my adventures with animals? Not really. I write a lot, but I don't know how to put it together. I don't know how to put it together. Got to have a start, middle, end, and all of that stuff. Got to go to writing schools. I don't know. I've always written. I've written since I was a kid. It's been my release, the way I express myself. But I write like I talk on drive. And if you know me long enough, you know that I very seldom make a point. I change the subject all the time. I forget the point that I was making, and I can never get back to it. So, like I have all, that's how my writing is. But yes, I'll figure it out one day. One day, I don't know, and then I'm going to. I don't know. I have thought about it. I've thought about it a lot, but I don't know how to. I need to know how to structure it. I don't know how to do that. But then, as soon as you include structure, then it throws me off completely, because then I can't create my own structure. Because I can't write it to a formula. I can only write what's in my head. Well, not to say that that's not literary relevant, or not to say that that wouldn't pass as prose, but especially since there have been some relatively good books that have been written and sold as bestsellers without even punctuation, let alone structure. Maybe one day when I grow up, figure it out. Okay, so we've got this beautiful light now, setting sun. It's great sunset because there isn't any cloud, but I'm hoping we're going to catch a moonrise in the east. Just tick through the top of some of the trees. And as promised, we're coming back to this grassy area where maybe the wildebeest are going to come out. Here's the sunset. Looks like one timing's been perfect. But almost got to step on it a little bit to get to the top of the rise where the baobab tree is. Can't think of anything better. There's not much of the sunset from there. Sunset and the full moon rise close to the baobab and purple mountain. special sunset. Love you all. And thanks for supporting us these last couple of months. Still has a few more days of dry ice, but not going to be a sunset and a full moon like this on Thornybush. Can't do that in a photograph. No, never work. I don't even know if the effect comes out on the camera. But it's the most beautiful sort of long-range view of this northern part of the escarpment coming down into the low veld with the sun. And what's really going to be a shame is that the sun is getting closer to the mountains. We'll try and get here as many times as we can, but one of these days, just before we go, it might just be in that gap. Might just be in that gap in front of us. We haven't had any great views of sunset because the sun has been so far north. But as it goes into summer, the sun comes behind the mountains and you get these clouds, and it's the most beautiful sunset with the sun going down behind the mountain, reflecting on the clouds and these shadows that are thrown up into the clouds. I think we'll just leave it there for the evening. Hasn't been that exciting, sorry. No, we can't leave it at that. Nonsense. Only joking. Okay, sun has gone down. Let's go see. I think I was serious. I'm going to go through all this trouble and see the moon. Okay, might be a bit later than normal, but down if we're allowed to, or not if we're allowed to, but if we're able to. Come on, that hurts. That's like the. Oh, I wish there was an elephant here, but we had them yesterday with the full moon. But look at that, folks. You know, they talk about the super moon, I suppose super moon from last month. Well, only marginally further away this month, most likely. Look at that. That is just absolutely incredibly beautiful. You have no idea how it is, how special it is, how wonderful it is to share a full moon with people who are close to me. So wonderful. There's no way I can take a photograph of it. There's nothing in taking a photo. It's got to experience it for what it is. Can't photograph it with this little thing, but this is exactly where I wanted to be about an hour ago. Not a perfect evening, except for not having elephants. I don't know how close. Turn the screen for me. See what it looks like. Oh, close. Full of zoom. Wherever you are in the world, if you're behind us in time, however many hours you are behind us in time, if you're 2 hours behind us in time, you'll see this in 2 hours time, or whatever, roughly thereabouts, not precise, because the moon has a different rate going around the earth as we do going around the sun, turning around. But wherever you are in the world, I hope you have clear skies, so that at sunset you can go to a place where you have a high point, where you can see the west and you can see the east. And I hope you'd have a wonderful sunset, and I hope you are able to turn around at sunset and have a look at the beautiful moon rising and say, it's the same moon that you saw with me on our afternoon drive. And, well, by then it'll probably be close to midnight for me, for some of you, or even a few hours from now, but I'll keep watch over the moon the whole night, and we'll be looking at the same moon. Magnificent full moon. Very appropriate that it is rising at this particular point in time, not like 5-10 minutes later. You see, tomorrow it's going to be rising 40 minutes later. Yesterday it was already up in the sky at this time when we were with the elephants. So it is going to be about 19 years before it's going to be rising at this exact time on this exact day. 19 years. Bye everybody. Thanks for being part of our lives. In Jeffreys Bay, Nina in New Jersey also, Sandy in California, Flick in Canada, Paula in Minnesota, Janine in Durban, Liz in the UK, Sharon in Austria. Could probably carry on and on and on and on. Bye everyone.